Welcome back to Lost Legacies.
A Hidden City Book Company production.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
How's it going, Sam? How was your weekend?
Pretty good. Pretty chill. Didn't really do anything.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Easter weekend is very slow. Very first time in a long time. Like we didn't have any of like the little kids. You
Mm.
know,
Yeah,
like we
yeah.
went through a period where there were no little kids, and then it's been, geez, 13 years. All the little cousins being born and coming in, and but right now that like they all went to different families' houses and stuff for Easter. So very
Yeah.
low key Easter, very chill. So like, all right,
Mm. Well,
well,
that's good. That's good.
mhm. Lots of leftover food, which is nice.
Yeah, that's always nice. I made margaritas, so
Nice.
yeah.
Timeless Easter tradition,
Yeah.
margaritas.
Yeah, exactly.
So this week we're talking about, let me make sure I get this guy's name right. 2015, Justin Kurzel's Macbeth. I'm trying to think of, how should I summarize this? Um, you know, I'm just gonna read off Wikipedia here. Like the play it was adapted from,
hmm
the film dramatizes the damaging physical and psychological effects of political ambition on those who seek power for its own sake. Hmm,
Mm.
interesting.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, so you texted me earlier, said that you dug it, but you have thoughts.
Yeah.
So just quick off the cuff reaction here. Well, what are you thinking?
So I think somewhere in between, last week when or 2 weeks ago when we announced it, and when I was like as I was about to watch this, I realized that I don't think I've ever seen in full any other version of Macbeth.
Mm,
It's just one of those things that like there are other Shakespeare, plays
mm-hmm,
and stories that like I've seen more of. Like I've seen dozens of Hamlets and Romeo and Juliet,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, Macbeth is something that's always eluded me. I think I saw it in person once. Um I think maybe in like 2022 or 23, because that was Hunter's play. Hunter was in that play.
Oh,
And they did it outdoors, so
mm-hmm.
we had to like get some camping chairs, and so
What
it
do you
was like a
play? Was
huge
she Macbeth?
outdoor. No, I want to say he was Macduff.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Mm-hmm,
I should have asked him before we did this. Um, but yeah, that was the only time, and it is one of those things where it's like I think I'm also, as much as I love the theater, I'm so like out of step with like going to theaters like that and going to watch plays, and
mm-hmm,
then even more so with Shakespeare. It's like as much as
mm-hmm,
I love Shakespeare, I'm like it's not a part of my daily life or
mm-hmm,
in somewhat succession with the rest of my life that like I'm as familiar with it all the time. So I really had to like put myself in the headspace like, all right, let me sit down. I have to like focus in. We got to lock in, Sam.
mm-hmm,
That's what Macbeth's whole problem is that he can't lock in.
mm-hmm,
But yeah, I enjoyed this,
mm-hmm,
especially this being like the first like cinematic version that I've seen.
mm-hmm,
Very beautiful. Um, and I kind of dig most of the performances, but there's something here that's like it's like it's like gritty realism. It's like
mm-hmm,
we're really grounding this in here
mm-hmm,
to a point where it's like I think as I was reading some other reviews, they were saying that like the language of this version is so specific because I think they're not using Shakespeare's text. They're using a close approximation to what they would be saying circa this like time period, with
mm-hmm.
some differences, or at least like it's or it's doing something where it's like it's not the text verbatim, but it is the text as it would be interpreted, here,
Interesting.
which is why we kind of lose a lot of, the maybe the more like it's always weird to call Shakespeare's writing like flowery prose,
Hmm.
but like some of the like classic lines aren't in here, you know?
Mm.
Like there's no stars hide hide your fires, let not the light see my black and deep desires. Like that's not in here,
Hmm.
which I feel like that's very specific. And
Mm.
that's very much like, especially with this version of Macbeth, who doesn't necessarily seem that ambitious.
Hmm.
It's kind of like, oh, this is just happening. And I've been told that this is going to happen. And now my wife is like, cool, I've set it all up. It's going to happen. So it's a very interesting portrayal that Fassbender's doing where it's like, I don't think he wants this. So then the rest of the play is just a very interesting thing of like, he's kind of just going through the motions until he's just stuck.
Mm.
So I don't know, like that's
Yeah.
not that it was like off-putting, but it was just I wasn't necessarily like expecting that, and
Yeah.
that might also be my own interpretation of it. But yeah, so I was also a little disappointed with like the Weird Sisters, like
Hmm.
they're an integral part in this, and yet I feel like they're so underplayed. We
Hmm.
don't even get the double double toil and trouble. Like we don't even get any of that. Like there's a
There was
theatricality
I
to
was gonna
this.
buy one of the shirts I was gonna buy.
Yeah.
It was the quote, and I'm like, I'm kind of glad I didn't now. Okay.
It's like, and everybody uses that now, like
Hmm.
Walt Disney was putting that in some of his shorts, back in like
Hmm.
the 50s. So like it was weird, and I'm like kind of disappointed because I'm like, especially this is like the first time I'm seeing it, like I guess like in full, to a point.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, but we're so committed to making this as real as possible or feel as real as possible
Hmm.
that we're losing a lot of the otherworldliness that I feel like
Hmm.
would fit that fits right in with especially something that looks like this, you
Hmm.
know? Um, I saw somebody say that this is like this version like out A24, the A24 version, the tragedy of Macbeth with Denzel.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm like, kind of like sort of, yeah, like visually, I think, but they would definitely go weird with it,
Hmm. Hmm.
like A24 would go weirder with it and would, do the witches and all that stuff. And from what I've seen of the Cohen one, like yeah, like they definitely do.
Hmm.
So I don't know, like this is so I think I'm just having a little trouble reconciling like the things that I know about it versus the
Hmm.
things that aren't in it.
Hmm.
I still very much liked it. Like I do think this is a very good version, and I do think I can see myself on rewatches being like, no, this might be a perfect movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I sit.
Sure, sure. So we talked about this but we got a comment from our buddy Dan
Mm.
on I think it was Threads, and he was saying he was catching up on the pod, but that we uh we haven't been ranking. I'm like, oh
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's we would kind of do it. I think mostly me,
Mm.
because like I'm someone who like I need to have my lists. And I was like, yeah, I haven't been really been like, ranking these movies or anything. This one is kind of a tough one. But I think especially doing the research and stuff, what surprised me is how many people were saying that we've never had a good Macbeth film. Like they're
That's kind
all
of what I've been hearing too.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Especially see, because like, look, I'm not an expert at Shakespeare or Macbeth,
Hmm.
um, but Macbeth has always been one of my faves. I've always loved the couple, but mostly Lady Macbeth.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. Yeah.
but but what I the reason I really really like this one is because it's so different than the others.
Hmm.
And if you were to say that we're going to remake Casablanca, I would strike you down and say that's sacrilegious. But something
Okay.
that's done over and over, like Shakespeare, and something
Hmm.
that's been done so many times, like Macbeth, I'm like, hey man, if you're not changing it, then what are we even doing here? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I absolutely agree with you that like there's kind of like the magic of the world is gone from this one.
Hmm.
You know, they've essentially replaced the ghosts with like hallucinations, you know, and
Yeah.
there's still enough there to be creepy. And it's like, okay, pretty sure, you know, the sisters are witches. Pretty sure he's being haunted by ghosts. But
Hmm.
the way it's been played is very much like you said. This is the gritty realism one. You know,
Hmm.
um, I'm I I would have to do research on it, but I'm not too sure about, you know, what that person was saying of how they changed the dialogue and stuff because a, a lot of it, at least from what I could see, was really on point, but there
Hmm.
were specific, you know, phrases that the director he also wrote it, I think. I don't know, I'll look it up. But
Uh.
there's very specific phrases that they changed for different reasons. I'm like, okay.
Hmm. He
Oh,
did
he didn't
not.
write it.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, and I'm like, okay, but what I really would I like to see something more faithful to Shakespeare's Macbeth done really well on film?
Hmm.
Absolutely. That's not this movie. And the very first shot of the film, I'm really curious. I want to talk to someone who Well, hmm, I guess that's you. I guess I need to talk to you about it. But I'm like someone
Okay.
who
Go
doesn't really
ahead.
know the story, but you already had like a history and not previous knowledge of Macbeth. But like I
Hmm.
kind of want to see someone who knows absolutely nothing and is kind of going in blind. Um, I kind of want to see their take on it, you know.
Mm.
And I also want to really get like a theater kid who absolutely loves Shakespeare or loves
Hmm.
Macbeth and see their take on it,
Hmm.
because this movie's very divisive. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't like it. A lot of people love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people say it's the best Macbeth on film. But is that because it really is, or is it because, like everyone else is saying, we don't have a good version on film?
Yeah.
You know, but the reason I bring all that up is to go back to the very first shot tells you exactly what their intent is. The very first shot of the film is a dead child.
Yeah.
It's a funeral for the child of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. And that
Hmm.
is not in the text. That is not in the play. And
Yeah.
that changes the whole meaning of this movie
I think,
because
yeah.
because like you said, like Macbeth has no ambition, you know,
Hmm.
like at least not in this version, you know, and it's so much of this film is seems to be played like reactions to trauma,
Hmm.
reactions to uh PTSD, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
They essentially replaced the ghost with PTSD,
Hmm.
essentially. And to see, and I mean, look at Lady Macbeth. She's the driving force of this story. She's the one who convinces Macbeth to kill the king, you know? And it the whole story and the tragedy of Macbeth is the greed, is the ambition. That leads to the downfall, but not this time. In the
Mm.
words of Jonathan Frakes, not this time. This one, it's especially Lady Macbeth. it's more about uh, you can feel that opening scene through her,
Hmm.
through this whole film. And when the scene where Macbeth is going to go kill the king and she's in the church praying, and I'm like, God, I really wish we could hear what she's praying for. I
Yeah.
wish I could hear that out loud. How do you pray for that? Like like
Hmm.
like I'm not questioning like morally. Like I literally want to know the words she is saying. How could you
Hmm.
be praying to God to help you murder someone?
Hmm.
Is it not mentioning murder, but are you praying for prosperity? What's going to happen? What's going to come from this? Or are you literally praying to help your husband murder someone? Like that's the
Yeah.
details I want to know.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. And then it goes to the later scene, which I think it's the only time in the text where it mentions anything of a child, but where she says something to the fact of knowing what it's like to I forgot what it said, the exact words, but I know what it's like to basically breastfeed a child, you know?
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
then she's essentially saying, for this, I'd be willing to kill my own child for this.
yeah.
And then after already seeing that opening scene, that just hits harder and it twists the knife into like how twisted and cruel of an act this is. And you're like,
Hmm.
oh man,
Hmm.
it's wild, it's crazy. Um, so just that scene alone, that opening sequence changes my whole perspective on Macbeth. And I like that perspective more than the original now in hindsight
Mm, okay.
because the original is just greed and ambition. I'm like, okay, that's cool, you know, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this one is, and also there was a lot in the original where it's a big part of Lady Macbeth is her manipulating Macbeth is like questioning his manhood,
Yeah.
quite literally. So that's that kind of, I don't know, what we would call today toxicity. That's very much part of that story, where that's not here at all. Like the words are still there, but
Hmm.
it's never really treated like that's a very cruel thing to tell someone, you
Hmm.
know, and
I
it was never really done cruelly here.
yeah, yeah. I think when any of the times where Marion Cotillard says it in this is sort of like kind of like questioning like his composure, being like, "Hey, like, are you good?
Hmm.
Like, get it together. Can you lock in, please?
Yeah.
And like, and very much so in the moments where she's asking this, he can't,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
he's just too far gone at that point. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, that is fascinating. That like, yeah, like there isn't any of that, like, because but again, like that's a legendary part of the text.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a reason why these characters and specifically Lady Macbeth has entered our cultural lexicon,
Hmm.
because of how well she's written
Hmm.
and and the weight of those scenes and this relationship that they have, that like if we're all trying to jump on board here and saying that like no, this is like the best version of Macbeth there is on film,
Hmm.
can we really say that if that key relationship, that key dynamic of their
Sure.
relationship is omitted or
Hmm.
changed around so much to where it's like if there is no toxicity, then is this still Macbeth? Like,
Yeah, that's a
you
good
know?
point. Hmm.
Um, yeah, yeah. So it's fascinating too. There's a lot. I went on a deep dive today of just like the historical context of like what was going on, and then
Hmm.
saw a whole video essay about like the hospitality, how hospitality is a huge part of this story. And how,
Hmm.
if we're looking at it from that lens, like we can see that like how trapped the Macbeths are.
Hmm.
Um, but just to like, I think we just have to, we just have to think about the times that this has been adapted versus the time in which Shakespeare wrote the play, you know?
Hmm.
And a lot of this is about succession, and it is specifically about the lineage, who carries the name, who is entitled to the kingdom and the land and the
Hmm.
responsibility after we're gone. Um, that I do think is a huge part of this movie, and especially like having that opening scene, definitely like reframes this whole thing. It also reframes, you know, Macduff when he learns that his family is dead, and
Hmm.
that Macbeth has killed them. And that he's broken, he's breaking, he doesn't know. He asks again about his wife, he asks
Hmm.
again about his kids, and then he just screams that Macbeth has no children. He
Hmm.
has no children. It's like, so he doesn't know, like he doesn't know the pain, which,
Yeah.
going back to the beginning, it's like, well, he does know the pain,
Hmm.
which is now how we can see in this like in this version, from this perspective, how far gone he is. That
Hmm.
like that didn't stop him. And truly, I think, I don't know if it's this way specifically in the play, but like having Lady Macbeth watch Lady Macduff like scream at the crowd and plead, for her life and her children's life,
Hmm.
moreover, I like seeing that as the thing that breaks her. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is what you
Hmm.
wanted. You said you were willing to kill children. Now
Hmm.
you get your chance to kill children. Your husband's doing it of
Hmm.
his own accord. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, and yeah, so having this be supposedly written for uh I'm gonna butcher my English history, but Queen Elizabeth? It was either Queen Elizabeth. She didn't have an heir.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went to King James, and supposedly that was like a huge thing, and his reign was all about like the line of succession and who succeeds, and
Hmm.
accounts have varied, and they say that like Shakespeare probably wrote this for the king,
Hmm.
and that's why it is all about lineage and succession, and that's why it
Sure.
ends the way it does, and I think, I don't know if it ends differently. I think it ends with, oh, I don't remember. I don't remember how it ends, but it technically has a happy ending, where it's like, I do think it's Malcolm, I think, does like sit the throne, and they're like, hey, this is all good, like don't worry about it, we're gonna fix
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
um uh which in this, like, never really get that sensation, you
Hmm.
know Malcolm, to me, feels like a very weak man,
Hmm.
and has now inherited this responsibility, and having Banquo's son come back to take Macbeth's sword at the end, and they both walk off into the distance. It's like,
Hmm.
to me, that speaks to just this unending cycle of violence that doesn't end with the death of
Hmm.
fathers. It continues on through the children.
Hmm.
Whether or not there are children or not is irrelevant. And that succession technically doesn't matter then at that point.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's it's an interesting take on it because the lines of succession and stuff that doesn't really, unless you're watching the show Succession or Game of Thrones, that doesn't really relate to people today. You know,
Yeah.
and and that's what I think. That's all why. Also, I was the way I felt like that's just a small part of this movie. I don't think
Mm.
Macbeth really gives a crap about that stuff. Like again, it's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of hard.
he doesn't.
it's kind of hard to see, what he does care about,
Yeah.
and it's, I don't even know if that's what Lady Macbeth cares about because she wins. She gets the crown,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
but Macbeth is the one who keeps pursuing, keeps moving,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like it's almost this idea of like I'm owed, especially from Lady Macbeth, like
Mm-hmm.
she has like several scenes where she's praying. It's very much like this is what I deserve. Give me this, send me this,
Mm-hmm.
And knowing what we do from the opening scene, does she think like this is what she deserves
Mm.
for taking her children, Give me
Yeah.
this, God, for taking my child,
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Macbeth is just something I think just going back into the whole PTSD side of it, it's almost like he just turns off. And crazy how this came out in 2015, because I
Mm-hmm.
think it would be very easy to see this movie being made today,
Mm-hmm.
over seeing what we've all been through these last 10 years, and how easy we are disassociating with the world just to stay sane, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that's definitely what he's going through, but in a very, very extreme level. I think it's also very telling how not only did they add this brand new scene and this brand new story element of having them lost a child, but they do that even before the battle in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he came home and the child had died. Like, no, that happened and then he went to war,
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it could be said, we don't really know, we don't know the details, but it could be debated that that's what broke Macbeth. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he could have been the hero. Everyone seemed to like him.
Mm-hmm.
They seemed to trust him. He could have been Captain America for all we knew, but losing that child is what broke him. And then that's what starts this story,
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah.
Um, and whereas Lady Macbeth, it kind of the same way as well, but she kind of has it more together. And she's kind of the one who starts plotting and manipulating,
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's just it's a very heavy take on an already heavy story,
Yeah,
you
truly.
know?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, like I really didn't miss like the more magic supernatural stuff in this version.
Mm.
I'm kind of curious how they would have done it, but to me watching it, I mean, look at our backgrounds, you know,
Yeah.
and for the podcast listeners, both our backgrounds essentially is the final battle, and it's that is war is hell, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people are hell,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't need the supernatural for that,
Mm-hmm.
they're literally in hell already, and uh yeah, just the whole movie is shot beautifully. um like every single shot you could use as a like a desktop
Yeah.
sort of screensaver, it just looks
Yeah.
so great. But specifically the oranges and the reds, you're like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is they're already in hell. So um but yeah, I one thing I want to point out about cinematography and just staging and stuff is the castle itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much, it feels like we're inside Macbeth. It's very empty. It's
Mm-hmm.
large. It's beautiful, but it's empty. And I'm like, I feel like that's kind of him, you know? He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just kind of going through it. He's a killer. This is what
Mm-hmm.
he does, you know? And then he kind of feels slighted. He might even feel like kind of like Lady Macbeth, like I'm owed more than this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's why he ends up going through with all this stuff. The scene where she finally convinces him to go through with it, and they're in
Mm-hmm.
the church. They defile the chapel. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, nice touch. But
Mm-hmm.
then I love after he kills the king and it's raining and he goes into the chapel and the water's coming through the roof and
Yeah.
like falling onto him. Not so much her, but only him. And you could say, "Oh man, is that just because the chapels back then, especially in his little village, weren't made that well, or
Mm.
is it because
Like
everything he
of
stood
that
for,
defilement, you know?
yeah, the defilement
Yeah.
and everything he stood for has already started to crack, you
Mm-hmm.
know?" And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh,
Like
damn."
first the act, within the church,
Hmm.
that defilement, and then the murderous deed,
Yeah.
and not like it's man, he went he went
Great
hard
scene.
on that. Yeah.
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 You probably
That
see more passion in him in that scene than the whole rest of the movie,
hmm
you
Oh,
know?
you see it whenever he's killing, whenever he's fighting.
Yeah.
Like that is when he's
Yeah.
like the most alive, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, but even then, compared to the other fights, even the last one, he's just chopping and slicing. But
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one with
that's
the
true.
king, it's so intimate. It's just
Hmm
he's looking into his eyes and just stab it. I'm like, oh my
hmm
God. So,
Which I learned part of the reason why you don't part of the curse that goes along with Macbeth in the theater world.
mhm,
Supposedly during it wasn't like the earliest performance, but it was a little bit later. Supposedly during the opening night of Macbeth, a real dagger was put in place instead of the prop dagger.
mhm.
So when Macbeth goes to kill Duncan, he actually killed Duncan on stage.
Oh, jeez.
And they
Whoa.
don't know how that happened, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that
Wow.
how shitty must that be, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man, like that, yeah, yeah. So like, and whether you believe the superstition or not, I'm just like
Yeah.
the fact that something like that is associated, like it was just such a weird thing because it's such a visceral thing, and
Hmm.
like and that I think that was kind of interesting for me. Like this isn't like a super overtly graphic version, you
Hmm.
know. Like the battle sequences, like yeah, like they're brutal, but I feel like I've seen worse, but like that murder just feels so much worse, and maybe that was the point, that like
Hmm.
yes, war is hell, but I think hell is also a thing of our own making. And
Hmm.
having Macbeth like come into this space, having this intimate moment, with this man who, for all intents and purposes, like loves Macbeth,
Hmm.
he just gave him like more land. He just gave him, like this other guy's thing, like you won, and now I've gifted this thing to you.
Hmm.
Um, and the fact that like he's here like kind of gracing the village's presence, all of this stuff, and it's like these are all supposedly very like kingly gestures and kingly gifts,
Yeah.
and there is Macbeth standing over him, just driving that knife, those daggers
Hmm.
into him. It's like yeah, it was brutal. Like there was a point where I kind of had to like turn away for a second. I'm like, oh geez. Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 And then so that's the next scene where Malcolm finds him. Uh it's not in the text. So that was a change where like him I think he just escapes because he's afraid that
Well,
like
well, there's two. So there's supposed to be two sons.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. They both
yeah,
flee
yeah. They both flee, but they
because
they do it in the morning because it's like because that's the whole thing. It's like Macbeth kills Duncan.
yeah.
Lady Macbeth goes back to place the daggers. They have that moment where they're going to wash out their hands, and then it cuts to the early morning where Macduff comes in.
Hmm.
And so yeah, like the two sons, they flee kind of just because they're like, oh, like our father's been killed. Like they're gonna think we did it because we're his sons. Like
Yeah.
this could be a succession thing. So then they just take off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then late after they do that, that's when we find out that Macbeth has slit the throats of the other guys because
Hmm.
he's so
Yeah,
impassioned
so
by
this
their
version was done a lot
treachery.
better. Just
Yeah.
because I like that moment between Macbeth and Malcolm, and just like how like heartbroken and scared Malcolm is, you know. But also
Hmm.
you just see how unhinged Macbeth is in this moment. You know, that he's not even hiding it, you know, like,
Hmm.
oh God.
Hmm.
This
Yeah,
is
and he looks ready to kill Malcolm too.
yeah, like this is it's crazy because like I think that this is one of the reasons another reason why I really like this like I really fear Michael Fassbender's Macbeth, you know,
Hmm.
when it's ambition and drive and power, he's just a man. He's
Hmm.
just a corruptible man. But like Fassbender's playing the devil, you know?
Mm.
He's playing a man who no longer like even recognizes morality. And I'm like, dude, this is and for whatever reason, it could be the rage of losing a child or the numbness of war, you know? It's kind of like all these things just kind of coagulate, you know?
Good word.
And yeah, and so yeah, man, like I don't know. I really dig this version. Um I haven't seen all the other Macbeths, but I do think this is the best Macbeth film. But I'll be the first to admit, I think that's also because we haven't had a really good Macbeth film. Uh,
Hmm.
this one is solid, but this is a take on Macbeth, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird because when the Coens did it, was it the Coen brothers or just one of them?
No, I think it's just Joel. I think it was just Joel Cohen.
Because that's not Macbeth, that's the tragedy of Macbeth. But I
Wasn't
kind of
that
feel,
isn't that what that's what the play is called, right?
you know what, you might be right, but everywhere it's just called Macbeth. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, the
yeah, but
shorthand,
I
yeah.
was gonna say if anything, like this movie should have taken that title, you know,
Mm,
because this is something different. Yeah, that wouldn't have made sense, but this is something different than all the others, you
hmm.
know.
Hmm.
The others are what do you call it? I mean, they are adapting it, but this one just took bigger swings, you know. And I think you do run into what you're saying, like if you change X, Y, and Z, is this still the original? You know,
Yeah.
one of the reason Kenneth Branagh is so highly regarded in the Shakespearean world is because he's I don't like to use this phrase, but it's essentially what he does. He's essentially modernizing Shakespeare. He's
Mm,
changing the text just enough to keep it or for it to like make sense, you know, to modern audiences and specifically to make it work for movies, you know.
yeah, yeah,
And on top of that, he's a great actor and director.
yeah.
So like that's why, you know, he's taking big swings and it's really working. And I think that's exactly what everyone did here, you know, the acting, the writing, the directing. This is something where it's like you don't just hire Michael Fassbender and say, "Hey, you do your thing. I'm gonna turn it into a story." No, it's like you got to be on page one, day one with him. Like this is the story I want to tell. Or who
Hmm.
knows? Maybe even said like, "What's your take?" That's one of the
Yeah,
beautiful things about Shakespeare being done hundreds and thousands of times. You get to see everyone's version, how it all changes a little bit, you
yeah.
know? Um, so maybe the director was like, Mikey, baby, what's your take on this character? You know? And I don't know, Fassbender said PTSD. He's like, all right, that's the pitch.
I
We're
love
running
it.
with it. You
Yeah,
know, it
yeah.
could have been something as simple as that. But but yeah, I don't know. I like how this one is so different. It definitely took swings, and I think it hit more than it missed.
Hmm.
So, um, I will say this is my favorite version of Macbeth. This is not my favorite version of Lady Macbeth.
I was gonna say that, especially when you started saying how like the toxicity isn't there. And
Hmm.
I'm like, that's so integral to their
Yeah.
relationship, and like, yeah, like this does feel like again, like, and this is hard because like neither one of us has seen many other versions of this story, right? So like we haven't seen the other film version, so it is hard to say that like, well,
Right.
how good is it really?
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, I'm like Marion Cotillard, she's a fantastic actor in her own
Yeah.
right, you know. Uh, so to like come into this, I'm just like, okay, I'm ready, I'm in, let's go.
Hmm.
And it's like she's giving a great performance with what's been given to her
Hmm.
because this definitely feels like it's Macbeth's story and not hers.
Well, you see, and that's a good point because uh the argument has been made over and over that the tragedy of Macbeth is actually Lady Macbeth's story
Mm.
because so much focus is on her.
Mm-hmm.
But without a doubt, this version of Macbeth is Macbeth's story.
Yeah.
King Macbeth, you know?
Yeah.
So this is not her story at all. So I think that's another it's a detriment to her character, but I think it's a benefit for this movie and this version of the story altogether. I think it's I maybe there's a script or a way to do it where they are kind of more equal, but
Yeah.
I think going back to like the devil example I used, like no, this is like the one man's journey into hell. Like I don't know if having the two equal parts of it would work, especially once they start disagreeing, because I don't know. I don't know. Like,
I mean, probably, but none of that's here, and we haven't seen the other version, so I feel like we can't even say that like I don't know. I'm just gonna refute what you said because it's
hmm.
like we don't have another thing as context, to go off
Well,
of, you know?
no, no. I mean, like, well, like I don't know what you're refuting here, but I'm just saying, like, to get this one man's descent into hell, you know, like I I don't know if this could have been Macbeth and Lady Macbeth duo type story the way the regular Macbeth story is, you know, and the fact where, well, like I said, it can be argued that Lady Macbeth is the main character,
Yeah.
but you can't even debate that with this movie.
Yeah.
So, is it possible that they could have done it here? Maybe, but you keep saying we have no context. Yes, but there's a lot of context out there that still won't apply to this movie because this is a very singular example of this version of Lady Macbeth, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if having, I don't know how that would have played out, you know,
Yeah.
having them more as equals in this version of the story. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, okay, because that's the thing. Like all of these are just adaptations, and
mhm,
this adaptation is very particular about this being Macbeth, his story,
right.
and his struggle and his grappling with it, and also Lady Macbeth is there, um,
Mhm,
you know, but yeah. I would love to see a version that looks like this, that does this, while also giving, Lady Macbeth, that same,
mhm,
that like just equal weight and measure. Because
mhm,
yeah, again, like Marion Cotillard is a fantastic actor,
mhm.
and here I'm just kind of like, yeah, she's good. A lot
Oh.
like a lot of this for me feels like that thing of just like this is actors acting. Like we're in this, we're doing this. Like the
Hmm.
the only time where I didn't feel like that with Coltyard was her scenes, specifically just her scenes in the church,
Hmm.
which are, very early in in at least the for the movie purposes, the act one. Um, and then when she has the out damned spot
Hmm.
soliloquy, back in the church village. I'm like,
Hmm.
like this is where she is. Like this is the performance. Like she's
Yeah.
here. Like this is
Hmm.
like this is the character, you know?
Hmm.
But that's two different parts of the movie, whereas the middle part, the rest of it, I'm like, I feel like she doesn't know what she's doing here. I
Hmm.
feel like she's just trying to referee Macbeth
Hmm.
without really having anything else to do or to say to him, you
Hmm.
know?
Sure.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
like, especially that, like, that banquet scene, you know, with, like, man, talk about like shitty banquets. Like
Hmm.
Macbeth has lost it. He's completely gone, and it's so hard because it's like Lady Macbeth is trying to, like, keep the peace among, people, but then also trying to have a conversation with Macbeth, and it's just like, I don't know, like, it's this
Hmm.
weird thing. The vibe of this movie too also just feels like, okay, I feel like everybody in this room knows that Macbeth killed the king, right? Like,
Hmm.
the vibe of this whole movie is that, like, we all know what you did, bro,
Yeah.
and we're all just playing along because of rules of
Because he's
hospit
king.
whatever, because you're
Yeah.
king now,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm like, I would love to see a version of this movie that, like, again, like, looks like this, does this, but wherein we have characters who are like, wait, like Macduff knows the
Yeah.
second, like the second Macbeth kills the guards, he's like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
It's like, that's when he knows without a
Hmm.
doubt, and he's just kind of playing along the
Yeah.
whole rest of the time. I want to see the version where, like, maybe that's not the case, you know like, maybe there
Mm.
is, like, some credence to this. Maybe it was the king's sons, maybe it was those drunken guards, but
Yeah.
to have something like that, and then slowly, as the rain goes on, we're like, oh no, it
Yeah.
was you. Like, because to, like, kind of taking it to Hamlet, that's one of my favorite things about Hamlet, is that he doesn't know if the ghost of his father is telling the truth about his uncle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that becomes the crux of the play, is
Hmm.
that I have to prove my uncle's guilt or innocence. Do I want that? I already don't like my uncle because he married my mom. Do I want to know? Like, do I want this to be true, or do I want it to be false? Either way,
Hmm.
I'm miserable. And then, and then that becomes the gist of the play. It's like, that would be such an interesting take, well, it different because Hamlet is the main character having to prove this, where I feel like
Hmm.
Macbeth is just the character who is the damned villain. And I don't know, maybe there are other versions, or I would like to see a version where, like, he has to play, like he has to play into it. He has to
Well,
pretend. Like, there is no
yeah.
pretending in this, I feel like everybody
Yeah.
knows, and it's just very spot on.
And I think again that kind of comes down to our experience with Macbeth because I'm coming from the opposite perspective. Like that's all I've ever seen. So I love the
Oh,
fact
okay.
that Macduff knows
Just right out the
instantly.
gate.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I
Okay.
love how everyone else you can kind of just tell like they all know what's up, you know?
And if they don't, or if they're on the fence about it, they're willing to
Yeah.
give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, I don't even
Right.
know what his name is, but, like, he's just the guy who, like, keeps giving information and, like, kind of breaks the fourth wall to, like,
Oh, that old
to
guy? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, to tell the
Yeah.
audience what's going on.
Mhm.
Like, you can kind of tell that, like, he's concerned. He's like, hey,
Yeah, you
like, is
kind of
everything
see it
okay?
as not towards the end where he kind of starts figuring things out a little bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, hmm. I'm trying to see how to put it into words. Yeah, but
Hmm.
that's one of the things I liked about this. Like, there really isn't any effort to hide what they've done, you
Mm.
know? At least not from Macbeth's perspective. He's just like, it's done. I did it, you know?
Yeah.
And again, to me, that's the, you know, by focusing on him, you can tell that story of, this man slowly becoming the devil as an archetype.
Hmm.
Not literally, not literally the devil. This isn't the Wailing, but that's what they should have called this movie, The Wailing.
Ooh.
Uh, but like as an archetype, this is a he Macduff calls him a hellhound at the end.
Hmm.
That's a perfect example. This is the story of this man who becomes a hellhound.
Hmm.
Uh, it's I don't know. It's just hard to explain and put into words. And I think this version is so different than all the others, and it touches on things in different ways. Uh, I don't really personally have much experience with PTSD
Hmm.
other than what I've seen on TV and on film, and it's never really done well, you know. Even
Hmm.
from someone who doesn't have that, I can tell like, I don't know about this, okay.
Hmm.
But I like this idea of the numbness, you know,
Yeah.
and I think that's very hard to translate to screen, and I think they did it
Hmm.
very well here. How do you make choices when you don't really feel or care about any of it? You're just watching the world happen around you, you're just watching the world change around you, and it doesn't really matter, you
Yeah.
know? And it's such like a nihilistic kind of viewpoint as well.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, and then yeah, and as far as all the other stuff, you're talking about that you kind of wanted to see. I understand what you're saying. Again, I think it's like, well, we have all these other thousands of versions with that stuff, but I
Mm.
will agree, I would like to see more of that in this kind of world. In a world where this kind of
Yeah.
dark, gritty, realistic setting, but they do try to hide it. What does
Hmm.
that look like? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Again, what happens if Macbeth is actually, or like if you actually add the supernatural to it? Because I mean, Macbeth probably thinks he's actually seen a ghost, but the way the film portrays it, it's
Hmm.
very much like, oh, this is
Hmm.
hallucination, PTSD, all this other stuff. He's just going crazy,
Hmm.
But it's not to the extent of Hamlet, like you were mentioning before. See,
Hmm.
I do like one of something unique about this story that I like is how both the sisters talk to both Hamlet, Macbeth and Banquo.
Hmm.
I think it's very easy to just single out, especially in the realm of the supernatural, to single out this one character.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this is the person we're going to haunt. This is
Hmm.
the person who the prophecy is about. But because the prophecy includes two people, it screws up everything,
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, damn, you had to mention his kids,
Hmm.
Damn it.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Oh. Yeah, I mean, all in all, man, I love this movie.
Hmm.
It's not one that I watch all the time for fun's sake, but I
Well,
love it.
yeah. It's
I
heavy.
Yeah, it's very heavy. I do love costume design. I don't know how period accurate any of this is, but I like how the more kingly Macbeth becomes, he's just it looks like he's in his pajamas, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
I think unless that's historically accurate for a king, I think that just kind of lends itself to the idea of like this is a person coming undone, you know?
Hmm.
This is a person who was I don't know.
I mean,
We
it
we
like in a
we were
weird
all
way. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say we were all in lockdown during 2020. How many people do you know never put on pants? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's true.
like not this guy. I wear blue jeans and my shoes every single day of my life. I don't care if I'm at the beach. I don't care if I'm at Church? I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if I'm on the moon. I'm wearing blue jeans under that astronaut suit.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
you wore blue
that's
jeans during lockdown.
yep, every single day. Put on
Yep.
deodorant, comb my hair.
Mm-hmm.
I even fixed my bed every day through lockdown. I don't
Wow.
do that normally because I'm like, I just get up and get the day started.
You had to. You had
I
to.
had to.
It's a way
I
to
had to.
survive.
Yeah. It's
And I was gonna
the little
say,
bit I can control, I'll control.
very yeah. Hey, very true.
Hmm.
Um, and I was gonna say like that's an interesting thing too of like it like if it is period accurate, like that's very interesting. Um, but yeah, like it kind of for me, it kind of like I think infantilizes is the wrong word, but it's sort of like this is a progression of his descent. Like
Hmm.
he's he's a kid. He's
Hmm.
got all his toys strewn around on the floor. He's playing with his little dagger on the floor and
Hmm.
carving little notches inside the tile.
Hmm.
And and yeah, like there's just something to like the idea of like looks like you're just wearing like a white smock, and then you've just got like a big blanket over you, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this just feels very kid-like, you know? Like
Hmm.
there's like that moment like kind of nearing the end where he's just like in a daze, just like staring out, you know, at the sun coming into the room. And then like another bit where he's just running around the room for like a hot second. And I'm yeah,
Hmm.
like this guy has lost it, but he's lost it in such a fascinating way.
Yeah.
Um yeah. Yeah. Um
They didn't have TV back then.
that's for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's for sure. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
Moral of the story, don't listen to prophecies.
Don't listen to prophecies.
If the
Don't do it.
prophecies are correct, it's gonna happen no matter what.
Exactly.
So don't worry about it.
Exactly. Don't
Don't worry
act on
about it.
prophecy, all right? Because
Yeah.
yeah, because that's the thing. Like Buffy always did that too. You know, it's like there's a prophecy and they always screw with you because
Yeah.
it's like the thing is gonna happen, but it's gonna happen in an indirect way. It's
Mhm.
not convenient, you know. Yeah, man.
In Critical Role right now, the D&D show that we talk about, there's a
Hmm.
lot of talk about prophecies right now, and they're saying how these can be interpreted in many different ways, you know?
Hmm.
Uh this prophecy could have already taken place years ago.
Yeah.
It all depends on your interpretation, much like this story,
Hmm.
you know? Um
I rewatched I rewatched the Dune movies, the Denis Villeneuve Dune movies. And yeah, like that was just the thing, like that's always been a thing that's like irked me. Maybe about the story, but like that was a thing that I was like kind of tuning into this time of like prophecy and how like
mhm.
there is this prophecy about, you know, the chosen one in that universe. And you know that very much makes up, you know, like the bulk of the second movie is how like yeah, like Paul doesn't want to be this chosen one, and yet everybody around him, because they've been indoctrinated, they see the signs, they know that he like that, you know, any little thing that he does or says, they're like, yes, like that's it, like that's
What is
him.
his name? What's his name in that?
Lisan
The
al Gaib.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Even me saying it, I'm like, man, that feels bad. I apologize. I'm sorry. Um, man, but yeah, and again, like harrowing performances. But yeah, like that
Hmm.
is just a thing that like kind of fascinates me about that story too, where it's like Paul doesn't believe, and even at the end, he still doesn't believe.
Hmm.
But he's too far gone at that point,
Hmm.
and it too much has happened to where like he can't just take it back anymore. And so it's this thing of like you kind of inadvertently became the prophecy because
Yeah.
again, the prophecy is also fake. Like
Mm.
that's what
Oh yeah.
the Bene Gesserit
Yeah.
like planted that, like
Hmm.
but that is the thing too, where like they're trying to create the super being through genetics and birth
Hmm.
lines and succession and all that. Like
It's
that's
a
what they're
weird
doing.
story, man. It's a weird story.
Yeah, yeah, it's so
That
crazy.
version of Macbeth is crazy.
I was like, man, what would a sci-fi version of Macbeth look like? It might look like Dune. I hope it's more colorful.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like yeah, so it's fascinating to me when like prophecies come into the mix because I feel like there's a lot of maybe just like kids media or just like
Hmm.
media when we were growing up where like I feel like it was a hard like left turn. Like
Hmm.
hearing like, oh, and the story of the chosen one, he comes and he has the sword and he's gonna save the day, and it's always
Hmm.
the unlikely hero, and you're like, well, yeah, it's the unlikely hero. Like this is the kid we're
Yeah.
following. He's gonna have the sword and save the day and all that stuff. And then at some point in our childhood, took a hard left turn and it's like, prophecies, I tell you, they're all you got six prophecies for every witch wizard that's coming around, all this stuff.
Hmm.
That prophecy for this guy, for this kid, for that, and I'm just like, yeah, actually, yeah, prophecies
Yeah.
suck.
It's crazy that we're talking about Dune because throughout this movie, I kept thinking about Dune. Maybe it was all the orange. They did orange better than Dune did.
Hey man, yeah. As soon as I
Um,
saw that first battle, I was like, man, I wish this was Dune.
right? Oh man. Uh, so okay. I do have a little side note about Dune, which I'll get to.
Uh-oh.
But
Okay.
throughout this movie, I was thinking about just the inherent sadness of the first Dune. Because
Mm,
if you know what's going to happen, the
yeah.
whole movie, I'm like, okay, this as cool as this is, I know what's going to happen. I know
All
what's
these
going to
people
happen
are
to
gonna
this
die.
house,
Yeah.
this family, um, Duke Leto. Like, there's this inherent sadness once you already know what Dune is about.
Hmm.
And I was getting major sadness vibes, but the same kind of sadness with this of like, just like, what are we doing here, man?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just funny that you brought that up and now we're talking about Dune.
Hmm.
But side note, tangent, have some coworkers who are listening to the podcast because they're watching Lost,
Oh
and you
yeah.
sent me a screen cap of the text they were sending you.
uh,
I ended up listening to both those episodes. It was like
mm,
season two,
I think
episode
it's the finale.
22, and then the finale. So I listened to both of those. I just played it, and like I was just on my PlayStation, just doing whatever, and I was just listening to it, and they text and they're saying 15 minutes not talking about Lost. Come on, and we're like, our response was like, "Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea how bad we get
Yeah.
sometimes." But it's because we were talking about Dune. We're talking about the first Dune for 15 minutes. And again, that first shot of that movie where you see the beautiful like sand
Desert.
hills and desert,
Hmm.
and you see the spice in the air, and Zendaya saying, "My planet is the most beautiful planet," and blah blah blah. And my instant reaction was like, "Yeah, where was that for the rest of the movie?" I didn't see any spice. I didn't see any
Yeah.
orange. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. And then I started watching this right at midnight. I was like, okay, I'm all showered. I'm comfy. Let's go.
Jeez.
Oh, dude. I was such the perfect headspace for it. I'm like, oh, yeah. So, but yeah, dude, all the orange and stuff behind you. Again, our background is the battle scene.
Hmm.
Uh, I just wanted to bring up that battle and the prophecy of what is it, the woods of something will come to
Yeah.
Dunsamain.
Yeah.
That was the inspiration for Tolkien, for the Ents.
Now I don't know if that's true because I've heard that and I've heard it refuted.
Okay.
Um, because yeah, like that was a thing that I had heard too, where it's like he was
Mhm.
disappointed that like the trees didn't come alive and
Yeah.
weren't like actually
Yeah.
traveling, so he wrote that in as like his dig at Shakespeare. But I've also heard like people say that that's actually not true. So I don't know. So I don't know
Who
which it is,
knows?
but
It's all up to interpretation.
that would be my version.
Yeah.
That
Well,
would
so
be my
yeah, in the
version, you know.
original, I think they just dress up as trees. They're
They
camouflaged, and the
there's a
soldiers move
moment
in.
where Macduff tells them to chop down the branches and to carry them with us so that,
Yeah.
you know, our numbers are hidden essentially. Um and I saw this because I saw a video talking about the final fight between Macbeth and Macduff for the 70s version that Polanski did.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people really like the Polanski version.
Hmm.
And I've seen the final fight, and I'm like, that's a really good fight. We
Hmm.
might have to bring that. We might have to bring that to the podcast. As much as I hate to say it.
We'll just do
Um,
multiple versions of Macbeth.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because there's the Orson Welles one too that
yeah,
oh, I would love to watch that. Patrick Stewart has one where he's like apparently like Stalin or
yeah.
supposed to
They're
be
like
like
Soviets or
Stalin.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Uh, speaking of, I was going to bring this up towards the end, but there's also the like gangster, like hardcore, like gangster Macbeth starring Sam Worthington from the
Oh God.
director of Romper Stomper.
Oh
I'm
God.
like, I saw the trailer after this, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Oh God. It looks like Baz Luhrmann worse. Like
yeah,
like we're gonna do that, but not have any of the class and
yeah.
artistry to pull it
And
off.
coolness.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
coolness. But
Hmm.
yeah. Anyway, they were the guy doing the video of the fight from the 70s version. He was talking about like why the fight is so good and like context from the rest of the movie. And there's the shot where like so in this version, they just burn the woods and like the
Hmm.
ash is going up to the castle and that
I
and I
love
was
that.
like, that's pretty rad actually. I
I was
actually
like,
really
that's
do
really
love that.
cool.
I think that adds to just like the brutality of the world, the hellscape that is this world
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Um, but in the 70s version, there's a shot where Macbeth goes up to the battlements and he sees the men on the hills as they're like coming over the hills. It's like dusk, and they
Hmm.
have like some have torchlight or whatever, and this beautiful rolling hills. And on top of the line is all of these things where it's like, wait, are those trees? And it's like it just looks so cool, and you get the sense of scale. And I was like, I don't know which one I like more now because I'm like
So,
that.
so what is it? Like just the shadows or like
Yeah, it's just the
so
silhouettes
so it's the
of
men, but they look like trees, the
yeah,
silhouettes?
yeah. And
Wow,
I'm
that's
like,
cool.
oh, and it's so cool because it's like, yeah, this is all practical. Like,
Hmm.
those are hundreds of men just lining up those hills, you know, where like having trees and swords and spears. And I'm like, that's so cool. That's really cool, actually. So, you know,
My
yeah,
version, they
to each
cut
his
down the
own.
trees and they fire them like a catapult.
They fire the trees as catapults?
Just like a normal catapult would be. Instead of a ball
Uh-huh.
for the catapult,
It's just a
it's a
tree?
full-on tree.
Oh, okay.
A whole,
Okay.
in 300 when they shoot all the arrows and it blots out the sun, it's
Sure.
that,
It's that, but
but they're
it's
trees.
like a pine, it's like a Christmas tree coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hundreds of them.
Yeah. The
And
old guy
Macbeth,
gets impaled by a tree. It's like, oh
oh,
no,
they don't get impaled, they get
the
smashed.
woods have come to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's wild. I
And
love
this
it.
version stars Jason Statham, of
Oh
course.
God. Tomorrow
I don't want to be a bad
and
guy though.
tomorrow and bloody tomorrow.
He'll be a Macduff.
Oh.
What's a good? How do you do
Oh.
Jason Statham? How do you do
What's
Jason
that?
Statham? He's like,
What's his
I have no
line?
words. My voice is in my sword.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
and by sword he means, oh no no, his fist,
Oh
because
yeah.
Statham's a fighter, so he
Yeah.
calls his arms swords.
Swords.
No, he calls his legs swords because he's got to do that transporter kick.
Mm-hmm.
And
Swinging around, yeah.
it's just like this. My background should have been the cover of this movie. Should have been the poster
Should have been the
with
poster.
McDuff's outline. McDuff's outline, not McDuff, Macbeth's outline in the battle, and in
Hmm.
the haze. But it's Jason Statham doing his roundhouse kick.
Yeah.
Mhm. War is hell. That's the tagline.
I love it.
I don't know who Macbeth is going to be.
Who's gonna go up against Statham?
I know.
The
Hmm.
Rock.
Nah. Michael Fassbender. Man, this
Oh
guy has
no, because he
such an
can't lose.
interesting
Yeah.
career. Like, I've always been a fan of him, but it's just recently where I'm actually like looking at the movies he's done. And I'm like, man, there's some
Hmm.
really interesting stuff. And like, I have at least two other Fassbender movies on our watch list. So we'll get to them eventually.
Hmm.
So, another one which that I was really reminded of this one, and it is on my list. We'll get to eventually. The assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Yeah, yeah.
Very similar vibe. Probably one of my favorite westerns, but it's not like your traditional western.
Hmm.
It's like this, you know,
Mm.
gritty realism,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
also super artistic.
Yeah.
Super artistic. And yeah, like there's a point in that movie, like halfway through, where I'm watching Brad Pitt play Jesse James. I'm like, oh shit, he's the devil. I'm like,
Mm.
this man, stone cold killer, he's playing the devil. Again, not literally, but the archetype, and he nails it. And that's
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking this whole time, Fossbender. I'm like, the devil is an archetype, you know?
Hmm.
I'm like, holy crap. Crazy. Cinema.
Crazy.
I love it. Man, this episode went on so long. I kind of knew it was going to be a long one because I had a lot to
Kinda.
say, and I knew that you were going to have, stuff to say as well. But
Yeah.
also, good on us. Like we're really, really digging into something. What's the word? Historic? No, just like we've never really watched anything that had such a rich history, through literature and several different versions.
Yeah.
Um, it's
Yeah.
been a long time since I've talked about Shakespeare with anyone,
Same. Yeah.
so I'm like, wow. Yeah, so the Globe, they sell a shirt that says something wicked this way comes,
Mm.
and like it's like a bloody sword on it, and I'm like, oh, I really wanted to get it, but it's like $60, and then it's like another 20 or 30 to get it shipped overseas.
Jeez.
I'm
Yeah.
like, damn.
Yeah.
So didn't get it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think that
What you
line was
do?
anywhere in this movie because
It
the
wasn't.
sisters say it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, I don't know. See,
Classic line. Wasn't in here.
I would have
And
liked
I'm
to see
mad.
some of the supernatural stuff, but
Yeah.
in this setting.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
yeah, but what we got, I really dug it.
I did dig what we got. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
movie.
before we go too long, pull up your list.
Wait,
Um,
hang on. You got to rate it, because
oh, dude, I don't know
that's what Dan was asking.
the Dan rating. What's it going to be called? What rhymes with Dan?
Uh, fan,
Dan,
scan,
scan.
pan,
I'm trying to think of
ram.
different words for ranking.
Oh, no, I can't. Yeah,
Nah, I
no.
don't know. All
Yeah.
right, I
I'm see I'm in between much like how you were saying
mm,
with the Keep. This is either a 5-star movie or like a 2-star or whatever, so you just split the
mhm.
difference. That's kind of how I feel, but like it's so much closer for me. I'm like, this is either 3 or a 4, so I'm just gonna go 3.5.
I'm going a lot higher.
Yeah, I
I'm
figured.
gonna go. I would even say 4.5 for me
Mm,
because
okay.
it's not 5, but it's a lot better than a lot of my fours. And
Yeah.
just because there's so many different elements that I really dug about this,
Hmm.
um, yeah, and how like I love Macbeth, and this version is better than all the other versions that I love, you know? So I'm like, yeah.
Hmm.
So I think I'm gonna go 4.5. This one is one of those personal ratings for me where it's kind of
Okay.
like Streets of Fire. I'm like, ooh, that's a high one, even though
Dang, that is high. Yeah.
I know it's a very low rating for a lot of people. So
Now, if Macbeth and Macduff fought in the streets with sledgehammers, 5-star
there we
movie
go.
for
There we
sure.
go.
But yeah,
Uh
okay, yeah. And again, like I can see my rating going up like with
yeah.
subsequent watches.
Oh,
So, but
and I
I
didn't
feel
even mention
comfortable 3.5. Yeah.
cinematography. Adam Arkapaw, I believe. I hope
Oh,
I'm saying that right.
yeah,
Um, Beautiful cinematography and beautiful music from Jed Kurzel, the
yeah,
brother of the director.
yeah,
Absolutely love the music.
yeah.
Um,
There's a
I
whole
think,
stretch like at the end where I was just like, this soundtrack is amazing.
dude,
Yeah,
the whole final fight is just
yeah.
like, oh man, like again, it was just all the elements in one. And Sean Harris, who plays Macduff,
Hmm.
absolutely amazing. You know, oh dude, I love it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
And
I want to see him play more good guys, you know?
yeah, he always plays bad guys, and I want to see him play
Yeah.
more good guys. So yeah,
Yeah. Even
I
if it's
love
guys like this, like, yeah, more of this.
I love how they fought with two swords, even though I don't know how historically accurate that was. I've
Hmm.
heard that's a horrible way to fight, but it was awesome because they both had two swords.
It looks cool, man.
And then when they didn't have swords, they used their daggers, and I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Um, so just a heads up, everyone, while Sam gets his list ready, uh, I'm not exactly sure what the schedule's going to be like. It's a very crazy month for both of us.
Hmm.
In fact, this episode might be going up a few days late.
Boom, boom,
If we're on
boom.
time, good job. If not, we might be a few days late. And then next week's episode might be a few days late as well. I
Hmm.
don't want to take a full week break, but it might be a couple days late. So
Yeah, yeah.
just a heads up. All right, Sam, what do we got?
All right. I got my list up here.
All right, 20.
So
So let me
grab your D20.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, let me use my steampunk one.
Ooh, I got you that one. Wait, no,
Yep.
I didn't get you. Oh, yeah, I did.
All right, all warmed up, ready to go.
All righty.
10.
Ooh. Ah, fascinating. Okay. Well, next episode, we're diving into a little bit more recent. Came out, I think, 2 years ago. Um, Starring one of our favorite Stranger Things stars, Sadie Sink. We're gonna be watching Odessa.
Oh, okay.
That like cool like post-apocalyptic rock musical
Yeah,
potentially.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That like I feel like nobody saw, and I really wanted to go watch it, but I
Mm-hmm.
just never got the chance. So yeah, we're gonna be watching Odessa.
I like it. I like
Yeah,
it. Is her name Odessa?
I think so.
Okay. Because it's not
Yeah.
Odessa, Texas, right? It's not
No,
in Texas.
it's like O apostrophe Dessa.
Odessa. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
Yeah, there you go. There you
So,
go.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's rad. Also probably my favorite rapper, Dessa. I don't think she's involved with the movie.
I don't think she's involved at all.
Yeah. So, all right, well, check out Odessa and check out Dessa. Um, as always, let us know what you thought of Macbeth. Let us know what you think about Odessa because we will see your messages or whatever, and we'll talk about it. We'll bring it up in the next episode. So
Hmm.
shoot us a message at Lost Legacies Podcast at gmail.com.
Hmm.
And we've got a handful of messages, but we could use more. It'd be nice to bring one like every week, get different people's thoughts. So
Yeah,
send
yeah.
us your thoughts on Macbeth and Odessa. Um, and until next time, Sam, I had fun. This is crazy movie, crazy
Crazy movie.
discussion, but it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Had a
so
blast.
until uh, I was gonna try and think of a Macbeth ending, but until next time, get
Get
lost.
lost.
All I was still trying at the very end. I was still trying. I was thinking of something. I'm gonna do it.